Ugh.
KG4F.
Just starting on that there, Charles. Will be. You can stick around if you like. I gotta get one right now. This is K4PW Net Control from Mount Juliet Simplex Radio. And Charles, I hear you fine though. Is there any priority traffic? Nothing heard. If there was, you'd already be calling 911. But if you need help, call us and we'll see what we can do. For information on the net, you can go to YouTube right now, put my call, K4PEW, into the search block. That'll bring you into the premiere, as they call it, for the net. And you can just click on that and watch your signal strength versus everybody else's. And you can also hear stations you might not otherwise hear. You can also go to 146415.net, which is our simplex information net for the world, all the world to see. All the world can see this too, but this has some specific information about simplex, and it's not that complicated, but it has to be said. Also, you can go to groups.io, look up MJSS in their search block, MJSS for Michael Jackson Simplex Society. You know, it's Mount Juliet Simplex Society, and sign up for emails if you like, and you can see our net schedule there. You can also send me an email at k4pew@arrl.net and ask me questions in general about life and philosophical things. We normally meet at 8 p.m. every Wednesday and Saturday night. Wednesday and Saturday night, and we conduct the net on 146.415 FM Simplex. If you're not already on that frequency, purpose of the net is to have fun, figure out how your station works, and hopefully make it better if you have the money, the wherewithal, and your wife's permission, and your banker's permission. As far as announcements, but my big announcement is I was gone not all last week, but I missed both Wednesday and Saturday night nets, and Michael KM4YRF graciously filled in for me on both those nets. So they keep going. This is net number 885, starting from the east. That's our big announcement. Tonight we're doing the 2-meter net right now, which is where we are now, and then over to 28.415 on 10 meters upper sideband. And then over to, for those of you that have it, smoke them if you got them. Blow your finals if you got them on 223.415. And for those that have 220 rigs, not too many out there, but we're growing. Started out with a couple of us, and now we've got I don't know, probably somewhere around 8 or 9 or 10 maybe people have 220 rigs. You can get one for about $150 on Amazon, or you can maybe find one like yours.
Is that on sideband?
No, 223.415 FM.
When did y'all start that? Because I have a 220 rig.
A couple of 8 weeks ago or so.
Good.
All right. Very good. Anybody else with announcements besides the ones I just mentioned? All righty, nothing heard. We're going to be taking check-ins, mobile and sick. No, not mobile and sick. Mobile and short on time. Please come now.
KG4F.
Hey, Charles. You short on time, I take it?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
I'll hear you great. You got a good audio.
Yeah, I got a horrible headache from my neck going on today. Almost to the point where I almost feel like I'm going to throw up dealing with that. Had a good day at work today. Pretty busy. I hate to hear about what happened in Green Hills. I used to live over on Belmont Boulevard. I was like, where have I heard? What's my church at? And I looked on the map and said, sure enough, that's crazy because I used to live on Belmont Boulevard over there.
Oh, yeah. No, it is crazy. Crazy things happen in this world, I'll tell you.
And, all right. I don't have much. I think we have a get together that's coming Saturday. Probably won't make it, so I'll make one sooner or later.
Don't think it's this Saturday. Remember now, it's the 2nd and 4th Saturdays of the month. 2nd and 4th. All right, very good. That was Charles. He's up there in the Jolton, Ashland City area. Kilo Golf 4 Sierra Foxtrot. Anybody else short on time or mobile?
Whiskey Victor 4 Delta, Ken in Smyrna. Sorry, short on time.
All right, short on time and short on hair. How you doing?
And short in stature. No, doing good. Just got to get some more fulfillments cut and burned and stained tonight. And so, but I didn't want to skip the net either. Hope everybody's doing well. And I'll get out of here. WV4D.
Very good. That was Ken, Whiskey Victor 4 Delta. He's in Smyrna. Good signal there, Ken. And who else is, by the way, Ken sells some of those custom-made call letter signs for your desk. Not huge. I don't know. Maybe make some bigger ones, but it's got a nice little one there about 1 inch. It's a nice little display. If you're interested, look them up on the web, Whiskey Victor 4 Delta. Who else is short on time or mobile?
Go Bravo 5, Echo Charlie Victor Bowman.
Kilo Bravo 5 Whiskey. What's that call again? I missed it.
Echo Charlie Victoria.
Ah, very good. How are you doing tonight? I don't think I've heard from you in a little while. You doing okay?
Well, I mean, I just can't make it over the hill from Centerville to here. I'm leaving work. I was like, oh, well, I get to check into the net. So I figured I'd say howdy before I get too far west.
Oh, I hear you. Conditions sometimes will fool you, though, won't they?
Well, hopefully the next month I'll have my 50-foot tower up, and I got like some 9 dB gain vertical antenna. We'll see how it works.
If you've got a really good, well, even if you have a bad antenna with a big tower, it'll work good.
Well, I'm at 900 feet, and there's a couple of hills between here and Centerville that are south. That's been my problem.
Yeah, no, I know. It is amazing though how signals do get around terrain you wouldn't think it would. You know, it's kind of surprising sometimes. Ah, you just broke up on me there. Still there, Larry? I got nothing. He was mobile, obviously. It was Kilo Bravo 5 Echo Charlie Victor. He's normally in, I guess it's Lyles, Tennessee. I see here. I didn't remember where he was, but yeah, he just broke up there, so I'm pretty sure he's mobile. Anyway, who else is short on time or mobile?
Kilo 4 Bravo Whiskey Alpha.
Hold on 1 second, Ricky. I think I had Doug. I think I had Glenn in there. Kilo Delta 4 Charlie Victor Echo. How you doing?
I'll catch you on the next one.
Very good. That's Greg Mobile on the way home from work. Kilo Delta 4 Charlie Victor Echo. Ricky, how you doing?
All right, I'm doing okay. Kilo 4 Bravo Whiskey Alpha. I got a little misery in my lower back. I tell you, I don't know how long I was going to hang out with you. I wasn't sure if you'd start on the north. So I figured I'd better get in early, short on time. I might try to hang out a little while and listen to who all checks in. But yeah, I just don't know how long I'll be able to sit here. You had a good net last week. Mark did a great job. I checked in. Was able to hear him fine enough to check in. All right, that's all I got. I'm just God bless everybody out there listening in. This is K4BWA 73s. Back to you, Paul.
Yeah, very good, Ricky. Ricky does the Thursday night net up there in Portland, and he is that's at it's 8 o'clock. I keep saying it. I should have it in front of me. It's 8 o'clock, right? On 147.555.
Negative. We changed it about 4 weeks ago. I'm not sure. We moved it to 7. We had some conflicting nets that were complaining about not being able to get over to my net. So I made the decision to move it to 7 so we wouldn't be conflicting with the other nets in the area.
Yeah, you just tell them that, listen, my net is primary. There's a secondary.
Roger that. Well, go ahead. I'm going to let you have it back. God bless y'all. K4BWA.
Very good. That's Ricky up in Portland area, Kilo 4 Bravo Whiskey Alpha, and he's does, like I said, he does that at 7 p.m. on Thursday night. 7 p.m. Thursday night. 147.555. Who else is short on time or mobile? Okay, we need people from the east then, please come in.
Yeah, for us in the beach, for us or good evening, Paul.
Oh man, you jumped right in there, and there's nobody else there, so Jimmy must be offline or something.
Must be. How is everything? Did you enjoy your trip?
Yeah, well, it's hectic. You know, when you got to fly, I'm not kidding you. I forgot. I haven't been there in a long time. But don't go through the Orlando airport when everybody on a Saturday, when everybody and their mother and 17 million children are coming into the Orlando airport to go to Mickey World. It was a zoo in there. All the seats, you go to get something to eat, the lines are 40 people long. You go to sit down, there are no seats because the entire airport is like a mass of humanity.
Wow. That's got to make some miserable traveling.
Oh, I got to tell you, there's one thing I forgot to tell you. I'll mention it here on the net. It's the only time in Orlando airport is pretty good about how getting through the airport, getting in through security and check-in. You know, they're pretty good because they do a lot of people. This is the only time. I don't know if there was a special event going on. It was, that the security was upgraded. But while we waited in line, 2 or 3 people at a time would be allowed to move through this little open area as you're going in through security. And they had a drug. I don't know whether he was a drug and or explosive dog, or just a drug dog, or just an explosive dog. But he had no dog. As you walked in, you passed the dog behind you. They just walked back and forth as people came up the alleyway, up that little space to determine. I'm presuming it was drugs because I don't really know. But it's the only time I've ever seen a sniffing dog checking out every single person coming through the airport.
Wow. They must have been expecting something.
I don't know. I'm just really glad that I was going to point to anybody, a random person. He's got weed.
That might not have been a good career move.
I know. They're going to ask me how I knew.
Right?
No, anyway. Well, they wouldn't find it on me unless somebody planted it on me. But anyway, how you doing, Richard?
Everything's good. This is my Friday, and I've got the rest of the week to do as I want to, and I've got some chores I got to do and some honeydews and this and that and 5 other things. So I'm gonna be a busy young man. So I won't keep you. 7-3, and glad you're back. Glad you had a good trip. And I'm glad you're home safe. Y'all take care, and I'll holler at you when I can. KI4S, I'll be shutting up. Back at you.
Yeah, very good. That was Richard, Kilo India 4 Sierra India Bravo, and checking in with him is his bride, KI4SOR, Stephanie, and they're just west of downtown Lebanon. Who else is wherever I was? East.
W4EBS.
Hey, Eddie, how you doing?
Doing okay. Well, everybody missed you while you called, so hope trip went okay.
Yeah, traveling always stinks though, because it's just tedious. It's just a pain and it's expensive.
It takes me too long to get everything prepared,
Oh, I know it. And then I can't take any guns on the airport, on the plane. They get a little upset about that.
Oh, you don't have to worry about that. They're going to take our guns away anyway, so you won't have to worry about that.
Oh, I'm pretty sure if Joe tries to take away our guns, I think either of us can take them with one hand tied behind our back.
Yeah, they'll have to have us where you can use a bow and arrow with only 2 arrows.
I don't know. I get tired of hearing them saying the same things over and over and over again. The more they talk, the more guns get sold.
Oh, they've already passed it in Illinois, so I watched a video on it. You can't even put a different handle on your pistol.
Oh, they did pass that in one of the states. I don't think they can. I really don't think they can do that. But maybe, who knows? It'll be tried in court.
I don't know what all involved, but it's all over YouTube.
I'll have to take a look at that. Yeah, it's just silly. It's all silly talk because anyway, I don't even want to go into it. It's all silly talk because it seems to me the Second Amendment doesn't have any restrictions.
That's not silly talk. They've already passed it, and the sheriff said they're not going to uphold it, and they said, well, we'll just get the sheriff that will.
Well, yeah, I understand. I'm not saying it keeps getting silly because all it does is create problems. It shouldn't even. Don't create problems for everybody because all it does is drive people to buy more guns and more ammo. Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Gosh, that means all those killings will stop in Chicago.
Yeah, that's right. They should. And we'll talk about that later. It's kind of fun. It's fun talking about it, but I just wish they'd stop making a big deal out of nothing. I mean, it just gets silly. Yeah, very good. Eddie, got anything else for the net? Glad you're doing all right.
Doing Doing okay. Hope everybody else is. So thanks for doing the net. Cheerio. W4EBS.
Yeah, that was Eddie, Whiskey 4, Echo, Bravo, X-Ray in Gladeville. Who else is east? East or north? East or north? Where'd the northern people go?
KB9RKK.
Hey, haven't heard from you in a little bit. How you doing there, Frank?
Good. Hey, I was down at like 1 watt, so I turned it back up here.
Oh, yeah, I did. I don't know. Try it on 1 watt again.
Here we go. KB9RKK, about 1 watt.
Yeah, I hear you fine.
You're close enough. Let me turn it back up.
Frank, you bumped it off frequency.
Let's see. Oh, I got off frequency.
I have no idea what you said, and I wasn't going to adjust the radio.
Yeah, I got off frequency. I said, yeah, I'm doing okay. Yeah, I got an I was able to get my antenna back up just in time for the contest this last weekend, and they did pretty good. In some ways it's better than before. In some directions, not quite as good because it's not oriented exactly the same way, but it's working, so that's good.
Yeah, well, every antenna, unless there's a perfect antenna I don't know about, it is a compromise.
Yeah, this is different than the way I had it. It's the same antenna, just had to kind of reconfigure it a little bit. It's in a way it's higher in some places, but we'll see what it does. Because sometimes a lot of it is, we know, even on VHF, it's conditioned. A lot of times. So, but yeah, what Eddie's saying, because that's where I'm from. My brother still lives up there. So basically, almost like 90% of the sheriffs said we're not going to do it. And as far as replacing the sheriffs, well, good luck with that because they're elected.
How are they going to? You say they're going to confiscate them, or just make them illegal?
Yeah, basically you just can't. If you got it, you got it, but you can't buy anything. You can't modify anything. You can't have high capacity magazines. You can't put. It's worse than even the brace law. You can't do anything. They're making just about everything that's normal illegal. But there's another problem because Illinois has, I forget the exact name. It's a reciprocity, which means whatever the police can have, people can have, period. And if you change it for the people, you got to change it for the police.
Oh boy, just more people are going to move out.
Right, but the police are like, well, if we're going to, which law is the law?
I don't know. It's just crazy. The whole idea, they think they're doing something and they're really doing nothing.
Well, it's just so they could say they did something, And again, at the same time, I want to be very, very careful that I make it clear that what happened this past week, that was tragic, and I don't want to take away from it at all in any way. But what I'm concerned with is not the attention it's getting, it's the attention other things are getting. Like the night before, 6 kids died in a tragic car accident. Where's the president on that?
Oh yeah, no, you're right. It's just it catches a lot of stupid attention. Not to mention the obvious reason it should get attention, but you're right. It's messed up. But they always, and again, I just wish once the politicians wouldn't use every event as a political event to do something.
Right, and that's what I'm getting at. And yeah, you could come. The videos are out. You can come to your own conclusions. But they're not going to point out some of the obvious things of why this person attacked this place and that kind of stuff, because it doesn't fit their agenda. And that's where I have a problem. It's like, don't have an agenda. If you truly care about these people, don't use this for that. But it is what it is. You can't stop it. It's the nature of how it is. I just don't. If you really want to look at it, this happens every day all the time. And in Chicago, especially, some weekends 40 kids get shot a weekend. Just because they're not all in the same place doesn't mean they don't get killed.
Well, the upside of that, Frank, is that the ER doctors are the best in the nation.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't care how it happens. If somebody, when a kid dies like that, it's just tragic for the kid, for the families, and for the siblings, whatever. I mean, I don't care if it's a car accident, but with this, it's bad because it wasn't an accident. This person just got up and did this, but some people don't believe in evil. They just think everything's preventable. Now, I think it could have been prevented, but at this point, I mean, the cops, they did a great job, but it's still 10 minutes. And man, 10 minutes, it's fast, but it's still 10 minutes. Think about it. If that person really wanted to do more damage, they really could have. And if there would have been one police officer there at the door, there would nothing would have happened.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough one, though, because you can't have one at every door. That's the problem. But anyway, no, I understand what you're saying. It's tragic. I'd like to think it was preventable, but it's not. There's all kinds of nutty people in the world, and obviously this was one of them. And what person in their right mind kills children? They don't even know them, and they're killing children. It just doesn't make, it's so senseless as to be absurd. It really, all it proves is that person was mentally ill. It's that simple.
Yeah, I just can't. I mean, I'm glad I've never been in the position that I had to do that, even in the war or anytime. I mean, because even if you can, even if it's justified, I don't think it's something that I would enjoy doing unless I really had to. So I basically put it this way: I would hate to kill somebody, but I'd hate to be dead a little worse. But other than that, I hope to never ever be put in a situation, even like those officers had to do. I mean, she had to come in, but it's tough. And a little kid, I just don't see, man. That's just some kind of evil.
Oh yeah, no, it's some kind of crazy. I mean, absolutely nuts. It's no nuttier though than the guy who shot up Vegas that day, from the hotel room. That's just what kind of insanity causes somebody to randomly kill people they don't know for no purpose whatsoever, other than to make a statement. I don't know what that statement is, and then they're dead. What did they gain? Anyway, anything else on that, Frank?
No, just glad you're back. Sounds like other than the airport thing, you might have had a good time. So nothing else. Turn it back over to you, KB9RKK.
No, we had a good time. It was a great weekend. It was a great weekend because we didn't have our 5 dogs and the cat with us to keep us tied down. And although keeping it, sometimes I wonder why we have dogs. To put them up for those 5 dogs for the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because I couldn't pick them up Saturday. It was about $1,000. No, that's not right. It was less than $1,000. There was a medical fee in it. So I don't know, $700-800. So that was almost as much as the vacation. Anyway, that was Frank. He's in Northwest Mount Juliet, Kilo Bravo 9, Romeo Kilo. Anybody else out there from the north?
WB0
Yeah, very good. You should have been there with me at the airport there, Martin.
Yeah, I would have enjoyed that, I'm sure. I had you picture being in a Mexican jail because I think Mike said something about hope he is in a Mexican jail. So I had you in Cancun or Tijuana or somewhere.
He did tell me that. I thought it was funny. If you go to some parts of Florida and you go to jail, you'll feel like you're in a Mexican jail.
Yeah, Dade County probably feels like that. But anyway, glad you made it back. And, I'm just not going to comment on this situation. It's just too hurtful, isn't it?
Oh, it's horrible. Just horrible. Horrible all the way around. I feel bad for the family that had the daughter who did this crazy thing. I feel bad that this girl could have been prevented. Somebody could have got to her and reached out and said, hey, you're thinking the wrong things. Stop. Please stop. I don't know what it would take, but it's just silly. Anyway, I'll give you some, what was I going to tell you? Levity about the, oh yeah, I took Spirit Airlines out of Nashville down to Orlando. Direct flight. That was the reason I bought. It was also pretty inexpensive. It's a, low cost airline. And So I booked it, and then after you book it, it kind of during the whole process, it tells you it's a cheap airline, inexpensive airline. Cheap sounds terrible. And then they go, okay, do you want to get assigned seats? That's going to cost you more money. That you assign, or we assign them for you. Yeah, okay, okay. And then, oh no, you want Wi-Fi? Oh, that's $7.50 to get Wi-Fi, and that's per person. Okay, if you want to get fast passage into the through security, that's extra money. If you want to get, it's almost hilarious. And there's no drinks, there's no peanuts, there's no crackers, there's nothing.
Yeah, I talked to my sister yesterday, and she was telling me she flew Spirit from Indianapolis to Fort Myers, and she said that the altimeter broke on the plane, and they were sitting on the ground in Indianapolis, and they had to find the part, and apparently for the vintage plane they had, that Chicago was the nearest place. So they were all sitting there saying, well, Chicago is only about an hour and 15, 20-minute flight, so it'll be here. Well, come to find out, they didn't fly it in, they drove it in. And the flight that was supposed to get her in Fort Myers at 4 p.m. got in at 1 o'clock in the morning.
That sounds crazy. I mean, you in Indianapolis, I'm sure, has a service center of some kind for planes, don't they?
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't have a part, but they didn't have the part in Indianapolis. Either that or the regular airlines that probably had it wouldn't share it with Spirit.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what the deal. I mean, it was the flight was decent. The trip was decent. Other than that, it did have a delay when we were getting out of Orlando, but that was due to that storm Saturday that was moving in through from west to east. You had experienced, I think, some higher than normal winds that day.
Yep, a little. But anyway, glad you made it back. Had a good trip, and I don't have much else to say.
Very good, Mark. Yeah, no, I'm glad I went. I haven't been back in Florida in a while. It reminded me that I don't miss Florida at all. I mean, once you've seen one palm tree, you've seen them all. Anyway, that was Mark, Whiskey Bravo Zero, November, Oscar, and that is he's up in northwest Wilson County. Who else is north? Hey, Brad, how you doing?
Hanging in there, Paul. I'm glad you made it back from Florida. Like I said, I'm going to kind of stay speechless on everything that's gone on this week because it's more than you can even wrap your head around.
Oh, it's just, yeah. I'm glad it wasn't worse. Let's put it that way.
Well, like I said, where I work is just right around the corner from there, and it was just like I came in just about when it happened, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
I was really of all the things that I was happy about and thrilled about was to see the efficiency of of Metro Nashville's police SWAT team.
I don't. They were a task team. They weren't even a SWAT team. Those guys did a wonderful job. The training definitely came through for them.
Yeah, and it was fascinating, really, because did you see that? That was a great video, by the way, if anybody hasn't seen it. The badge cam from a couple of the officers. But the one that is most noticeable is the lead guy as he directed the people around to make sure that everything was going right.
Well, I used to be friends with Bob Allen, who was over that team. He was also over the police academy training. And those guys are, one thing about the Nashville police, they've had a lot thrown at them in the last 5 years, and by God, they've done an A+ job every time they've had to handle something. Yeah, no, I most people are it's easy to be critical of police forces. It really is, because it's just things happen and they can't prevent or stop or help everything. They don't always make the right decision, but they made the right decision at that moment in time. So yeah, I understand. But those guys, it's nice to see guys in those crews, in those tactical teams. They made no hesitation about jumping into any space. Well, it was just like the bomb situation. It was the same thing. They jumped right into action. They did their job as they were trained to do. And they did a good job at it.
Hey, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm sure they got. I believe they got national recognition for that too. I think that that really made police forces look good. Let me qualify it, and it made everybody on the web I was noticing was making Uvalde look horrible.
Yeah, and that's kind of a sad thing too. And it's like I said, until you're right there, you don't know what you're going to do. But by God, I'll tell you, they've come through every time for us. The police have. You can't demonize them, and I think we've got 2 future police chiefs there.
I'm sure of that. No, I'm just glad none of them got hurt, really. I mean, because they could have easily. Give me a call again, because I wrote it down wrong, and I don't remember what it's correct.
Kilo Echo 4 Romeo Victor Quebec.
Oh, no wonder I wrote down Bravo. Well for you.
Absolutely. Well, listen, buddy, you can be good 73s, and I'm just going to listen.
Very good. That's Kilo Echo 4 Romeo Victor Quebec, and that's Brent. He's in Northwest Wilson. Who else is north?
Kilo Quebec 4 Alpha Echo Tango Mobile.
Hey, how you doing there, Chris?
Good. I wanted to get in before I get back to the house and didn't want to wait for the compass to come around.
All right, sounds good. You doing okay?
Yeah, doing good. I heard you just get back from your trip. Sounds like you had a great time.
Oh no, it was good. In fact, I got to send out the little summary of what we did over there. But no, it was nice. It was I spent 36 years in Florida, so it's not like Florida's I'm gonna go, ooh, look at the palm trees. It's not. Believe me, that's not me. No, it was nice though. Orlando does a nice job with their landscaping and the trees, but it's still just it's a tourist mecca, and I never liked tourist meccas. I grew up in a tourist town called Niagara Falls, so tourists and looking at tourists and watching people with sandals and socks and flip flops and t-shirts and shorts and funny hats. Bleh.
Yeah, I feel you. You got a laugh out of my daughter with that one. That was good. Yeah, we're headed down to Destin late June, and I kind of looked it up. I know we're an hour from Pensacola, and I checked into it, and the Blue Angels will be doing 2 practices while we're down there. So we're probably going to slide over to Pensacola and check out one of their practice sessions.
Oh, awesome. Destin's, have you been there before? It's nice.
Oh, yeah, it's great. One of our regular haunts, actually. They've got a really good the Army they have a recreational resort down there about maybe a mile and a half from downtown Destin, so it's not far, but it's really good for retirees active duty. You can get in there. It's pretty nice.
Cool. Trouble is, you got to stay in 20 years to get there.
Check that box, buddy.
I'm a quarter there not a quarter. 1/5 of the way there. Will they give me like a janitor's closet or something?
They'd probably get you something. Hey, everybody's got to do their part, right?
Oh no, no, I'm all for it. I wasn't. Love the time I spent in. Glad I'm out, and I'm glad for people who stay in.
Yeah, getting fewer and fewer people even raise their hand for a short stint. So we gotta appreciate it when we do it.
Not only there fewer and fewer, but there's fewer and fewer qualified.
That's not a lie.
No, they said that's a Navy video I watched from boot camp. It was an official Navy video, not a goofball video, that I would produce. They said the biggest problem they have with new recruits is they're overweight. They can't swim or run.
Yeah, just park outside the high school during drop off and pickup and watch all the butterballs with feet walking around. That'll show exactly what their problem is.
And I can't imagine really in this day and age, but can you imagine what it must be like for somebody who spent most of their 18 or 19 years on the planet staring at a cell phone, a smartphone, and then having it say, no smartphones for this 8 or 10 weeks.
Yeah, that's and then when they're going through it, they're probably like, this is nothing like Call of Duty.
That's what I mean. But it makes me laugh really because we didn't have those diversions when I was growing up. I mean, we were lucky to have 3 channels on the television.
Yeah, like computers and the internet, Atari 2600 were just all coming in when I was younger. So kind of grown up as that
stuff has matured, but not to the level of this. So, but I can imagine what the shock to the system would be for them. I was a drill sergeant in the Army for 2 years, so I've seen it on their faces even as far back as 2000. What a shock it is.
Oh no, again, it was a shock for me to go into basic training, and Navy basic training isn't that big a deal. I mean, it's not the Marines, let's put it that way, and I presume it's also the Army's much tougher. I mean, we barely, it's not like we didn't do a lot of PT, believe me. In fact, we did almost none, and we did a lot of marching, we did a lot of education courses, we did that kind of stuff, but nothing. And that was a shock to my system because I wasn't used to being that indoctrinated in anything.
But it makes sense, like, with the job, what you're going to be doing, it wouldn't make sense to drag you through the dirt, turn you into a sugar cookie after chow, when you're going to be on a boat and doing mechanical stuff or whatever, right?
Oh yeah, no, I understand the difference. Sure, there were guys who went into the SEAL teams. There were guys that went into other, the underwater demolition guys, which maybe SEAL teams doing that now. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, there was no reason for it. It's more of a, they concentrate used to on being orderly. In other words, you put away your stuff in your locker the way you're told to. I mean, it was a tiny locker, and you put away every crease, everything you put away had to be immaculate because they want you to get used to living in very tight spaces and getting along with other people.
No, that makes complete sense. And then leaving stuff around in, on a boat, I could imagine could be a safety issue as well.
Oh yeah, no question about it. We used to call those missile hazards. If it's not tied down, you're going to get hit with it.
Yep. So they were really pushing that attention to detail on you guys, huh?
Well, plus they had some other things. We had to go through fire training and firefighting and going through how to deal with rooms filled with smoke. Not fun. I still, my sinuses still hurt from that.
Yeah, I've seen some of the videos of some of that training. That's pretty impressive stuff, though.
Yeah, and then of course for more detailed training, some of the guys have to go into that part of the engineering groups. They go into the real damage control exercises with firefighting, patching holes in the hull, and it's really hard work.
Yeah, no doubt. Like you said, I appreciate when I've seen some of the videos. I'm like, they're getting blasted in the face with water and trying to patch it up. Like, no bueno.
Oh, well, every military unit has its problems. Being in any unit really, but particularly in fighting units, particularly on warships, particularly in special teams like Green Berets and Special Forces and that kind of stuff. They have really specific hard duties to do, and obviously everybody's not suited for each of those duties. I'm glad the best of the best get into the special units.
I agree. Hey, all right, man. It's almost at the 68, so I'm going to drop off 73 to everybody. And also, just last comment. Everybody talking about what went down this week, and right, there's a lot of good Americans on ham radio. That's all I know.
Oh yeah. That was Chris, Kilo Quebec 4 Alpha Echo Quebec. He lives down there south of me in Burl Hill, 5 miles or so. Who else is wherever I was, north or west?
KO4 OTV.
Hey, what's up there, OTV? I always get a kick out of your call. I don't know why.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times this week. Well, it sounds like you got your antenna fixed.
Well, this is my backup antenna. I still haven't resolved the issue with my primary X700. We just had good conditions tonight. But how are you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. All things considering, it's been a crazy week to say the least. I think you all know. I was cheering that. I was watching the video. I guess it was yesterday morning. A buddy of mine sent me the footage before that. I guess they released it on TV. My hat is off to Metro PD, man. That was just awesome. I mean, you hear all these critics. It drives me crazy. Tell you, that was the swiftest. I don't even know what to think about people when they comment like they do on social media, which I'm not really on social media. It's just on YouTube, which I guess is social media. But what do you want them to do? Beam them up, Scotty, right there? You can't get there. They couldn't have done it fast enough. And man. I mean, just the way they went about clearing that building the way they did was just on point. I mean, everything was up to par. I mean, they did exactly what they were supposed to do, and they did a fantastic job.
And they didn't waste any time going in either.
No, and that's what kills me about people. It drives me crazy hearing the things they have to say. I mean, I hate what happened, man. It weighs heavy on my heart. You know, seeing anything like it, it's never good. Of course, anytime you got something like it, I even saw a thing where I think Madonna was wanting to like raise money for transgender mental awareness or something about, I don't know what it was. I don't think it had anything to do with mental awareness. I just think she was doing it. She's a moron. Anyhow, we know that already, but it's crazy, man, what we're living in right now. And it doesn't feel real, man, some days. You know, you wake up, it's like nothing surprises you anymore. You just don't know what to think.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. I don't know how it could get any. Well, it could get crazier. It really could. But I'm just glad that we have the people that we do, you know, in the police forces. They seem to be doing great. Those guys. I tell you what, that's going to be a meme. It's all. You remember in 9/11? Then of course it's now 23, almost 23 years ago. 9/11, when they were recording what happened when the building fell, the first tower fell, and you could hear all those beeping sounds going off, and that was the beeping sounds. And I think that's where, I don't remember what that was. It was, I think it was a locator for people, for firefighters and policemen. I think that's what that was. I don't remember now. But anyway, you hear that beep, yeah, constant beeping from all these sounding things. It was the same thing in that video. Was that alarm, the fire alarm system that whomever pulled, and here's these policemen running through the building while this alarm's going off. It's kind of freaky the way it sounded.
Oh yeah, that's what I do for a living. I do that type of work, and yeah, they sound crazy, and some of them sound even worse than that. And yeah, some of them talk to you and everything. And it's crazy you mentioned that, because I watched an hour, just kind of like a recap for me, I guess, you know, of the 9/11 thing. I don't know, I guess it was about a month ago, boy, and it just, I mean, it just felt so surreal again, you know, watching all that, watching it the way, kind of the way I watched it on TV in a sense, man, you know. I remember that night I was working at a convention center downtown at Opryland, and I was doing trade shows at the time, back before the internet took over and ruined it all, and I was in there working. And that night I got home, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning probably, and I went to bed and I sleep with the radio on. Well, I used to back then. And they said, "We'll give you news on the trade center when we come back." I'm sitting there watching, and another plane comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, hang on, we got Joel on the horn here.
I'm like, oh, immediately I knew, you know, and I'm sitting there like,
hang on.
Dude, I'm sitting there getting my guns and stuff out. Like, I don't know what's going on. You know, I've never experienced anything like this, and it was freaking me out a little bit. You know, just waking up to it. You know, you're not right in your mind yet. You're not awake. It was, boy, that was a scary morning.
Oh, absolutely. And this was a scary day yesterday. You know, on what was it, Monday? Today's Wednesday. Yeah, Monday. That was pretty scary to see somebody that's going perfectly insane, able to shoot children, and you know, it's absurd. Anyway, anything else you got for us, Joel?
No, that's it, man. But yeah, they did say she was from part of that school. Why did she wait 10 years? I mean, she'd have had to graduate by the time she was 18. I know there's so many things, but that's it for me, man. And good to hear you back on there, my friend. KO4OTV, back in that control.
That school only goes to 6th grade, so she was 10, which means she waited 18 years to get ticked off. So I'll leave it at that. That was Joel up in the Joelton vicinity, west of Ashland City. Kilo Oscar 4, Oscar Tango Victor. Who else is west?
KM4YRS.
Your signal's low to me tonight there, Michael.
Well, your signal is really low to me. You're like S3. But I just wanted to say I'm glad you're out of jail and back home.
Oh, yeah. You know, you get so tired of those tacos in the Mexican jail.
I'll bet you do. We had some fun, though.
Oh, I'm sure you did. Of course, you met a lot of, you know, you get to practice your Espanol. You know, there's an upside to that, Jim.
Yeah, there's always an upside that we can really work hard about.
I couldn't keep everybody there had a name that ended in EZ except for me.
I bet that would have a fun time trying to pronounce your last name.
Yeah, que pasa? Anyway, anything else for the net, Michael?
I guess not, Paul. Glad you're back, and we persevered without you, but it just wasn't the same.
No, really, there's got to be something reason between you and me having these signal problems, because I talked to Joel was perfect signal compared to yours, and Joel's way farther away.
Yeah, I know, and everybody else's signal has been just like normal. But for some reason, there's this just feel like S3 and noise in the background and everything. It doesn't not seem to that.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of noise. It's frying bacon on your signal too. That's wild. Anyway, appreciate you being there, Michael, and appreciate Michael did the nets on not only Wednesday night plus Saturday night plus the normal net or abnormal net, whichever you want to call it, on Sunday night. So he's been taking up a big slack for me, and I appreciate it. That was Kilo Mike 4 Yankee Romeo Foxtrot Michael in just west of the airport. That'd be the BNA airport. Who else is west?
Whiskey 4 India Foxtrot.
KO4 DFA.
Hold on, John. That was KO4 DFA. I heard Whiskey 4 India Foxtrot. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Paul. This is Carl in Nashville.
Yeah, Carl. How's it going?
Oh, I'm facing the problems of aging as community medical appointments taking away from my radio time.
Oh, wow. Well, you're not that old, are you?
75.
Okay, well, you're a year ahead of me, so a little over a year. I'll be 74 in, if I can remember, June. That's what. No, you're right. The medical issues. You always remember when you're young is the older people talking about medical issues, and then when you get old, you go, oh yeah, now I know why.
Yeah, it's aging is not for the faint of heart, but I'm really doing okay. I should be thankful for the good health that I have. But like I say, if they finish one appointment and then they set you up for another one, so it sort of becomes a different way of life.
Oh, absolutely. Well, just be thankful. I know you already know this, but we live in a golden age, really. Forget the costs with healthcare, but we live in a golden age where doctors and the healthcare community really, in spite of the criticisms, really know a lot of stuff and they get things. I've been amazed. I was in and out of what I considered a major surgery, with 7 holes or 6 or 7 holes poked in my abdomen, taken out my prostate in a 4 or 5 hour surgery using a robotic surgery. And I went in on Wednesday and I got out Thursday afternoon, and it was a little bit of a struggle, but I was eating breakfast with the hams on Saturday morning.
Yeah, well, I know it is amazing. They're doing some stuff on me where they take off a little tiny tumor and then send it to the pathologist before they even sew me up to make sure they got everything. So when I walk away, they know that everything is gone. So that is quite an improvement over the way it was even a few decades ago. So I am very grateful for that. But I do want to get back on get some of my radio things tied up. I got about 20 loose ends going, which I guess a lot of people do. But anyway, so nice to be on the net. Enjoy it. This is before I.
Yeah, very good. I was just looking at your QRZ page. I did talk about you being a retired veterinarian with and a Air Force officer. Yeah, I forgot. We'll have to talk more about that someday. Got to make it to one of the breakfasts.
Well, I'll try. I'm not a particularly early riser. That's the problem with that.
Oh no, no. Well, I have been. Not always though. Not always. I like to sleep in myself. But anyway, good to have you on the air there, Carlton. That was Carl. That was Whiskey 4 India Foxtrot in Nashville. Yeah, healthcare problems are always. They sometimes hurt too. Anyway, Carl in Nashville. John, you still there?
Still am here.
Very good. You doing all right?
I'm doing great. Just, I guess we got some more weather coming on Friday, so I'm just kind of getting ready for that.
What was it? Severe weather? Really?
Yeah, we were actually in a hatched area a little bit, but yeah, there's some significant what do they call it? Tornado probabilities.
Well, there's always tornado probabilities because I think March, April, May are the big months for tornadoes, aren't they?
Oh yeah, it's storm chasing season, and I'm kind of the armchair weatherman, so I've been watching I watched the Mississippi and Arkansas stuff kind of go off, at least the radars as it was all going off, and it was not good.
No, that one was that I saw a replay, not a replay. I saw, what they showed was one of the weather guys says, and he looks at it and he's showing he zoomed in on the map and it showed this concentration of the debris ball of that. He goes, that's those poor people. He knew it was going to be bad.
Yeah, it looked like a bomb went off in that town. It was just, and it was really wide. So it was what they call an EF4, and the EF5 is what they call the finger of God, where it basically takes everything down to the slab and dirt.
Oh yeah, wipes the slab clean. You're right. But that did it pretty closely on some of the stuff it hit.
Oh, for sure. There was only sticks, trees half their size poking up out of the ground, and a whole lot of trash thrown around.
Yeah, well, I have, as you know, our street got hit pretty bad, and I had some damage, but nothing catastrophic. And so I appreciate. All I can remember in my image of my mind is the following morning I walked to the end of the street. We didn't have any power, so there was no lighting. I couldn't buy any street. There's no lighting on our street anyway. I walked to the top of our hill here and looked at and I couldn't believe what I saw because I thought the tornado was farther north than our street, our neighborhood. And it wasn't. It went right straight through that neighborhood. So that's the image I got stuck in my mind, is this giant mess of 25 homes that got destroyed.
I tell you, like I always say, that's why I got my ham radio license, and I also bought a big truck that's lifted so I can drive over a telephone pole if I need to. So I think I'm ready to go. Just bought a new generator. We're doing what we got to do. We've almost been hit twice.
Oh yeah, no, it's always good to be prepared, and hopefully you never have to use it. I mean, it's ultimately the thing. And even no guarantees, even with a high axle vehicle, no guarantee you're going to get over the logs that may fall in your path.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I mean, I kind of did some shorthand math, and I'm hoping maybe it'll do it, but I don't know. We'll see it when we get there. I might be the only guy driving around on the streets.
Well, that just carry a chainsaw with you under those terms.
Oh, for sure. And I got one of those too. I might have to invest in a bigger one though. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. Anything else for the net, John?
No, just I'm gonna try to make it to breakfast. My Wednesday nights finally opened up again, so I'm gonna be checking in with you on the Wednesdays and then try to hit a Sunday or a Saturday breakfast. But have a good night. We'll talk soon.
Very good. That's John in Hermitage. Kilo Oscar 4 Delta Foxtrot Alpha. Who else is West? November 4 Victor Charlie. How are you doing tonight? So your signal's really bad tonight. The weather, there are some issues from the north, because I had somebody talk to somebody up in your neck of the woods earlier, and the noise is horrible, the hatch. But anyway, the breakfasts are 2nd and 4th Saturday of the month, and they're at the Golden Corral there in Hermitage, just behind the Chick-fil-A, if you know where I'm talking about. Yeah, that's right. No, I'm glad you're in there. But everything else going okay for you up there? Yeah, very good. That's Al, November 4, Victor Charlie from White House. Who else is West?
KG4 ILV, Jack and Donaldson.
Hey, Jack, everything going all right?
Everything's going great, Paul. I hope you had a good trip.
Travel, no matter how you travel, it's not fun. I don't know if it's car, truck, train, plane. It's too tedious.
Yeah, I flew on Spirit one time in Alaska from one spot of the state to another spot, and it wasn't the top of the line airline.
No, but none of the airlines are top of the line unless you go first class.
That's true. It did get me there safely, so I don't have any complaints.
Yeah, well, it's like me and my boss one time, we got on one of those little Bombardier, I think they are the ones that have 2 seats or 2 seats on one side and 1 seat on the other. They only handle about 20 or 30 people. I think you know the plane. They got the 2 turbo prop engines on them, and we're sitting right up in the front of the plane, looking. We could see right into the cockpit. And he was sitting in the aisle seat, and he turns to me, and goes, "Is it a bad thing if they're tapping on the gauges to see if they work?"
Yeah, I think those planes are made in Brazil, and I was in one of those in a pretty bad storm one time. I'll never forget that.
Oh, I was in a pretty bad storm in one of those too. It was there was people getting sick, and I'm glad my son was only about 10 or 11. He was sleeping, so he didn't even notice. But it can be pretty bad in those little ones.
Oh yeah, they'll toss you around. It'll be like the wildest roller coaster ride you've ever been on.
Yeah. Anyway, no, it's and I've been on, I forget what it was called, L1011 maybe, one of those wide bodies, and it was flying from. I made a connection in New Jersey to fly back to Florida. Once we took off, it was. I felt like I was on a bus on a smooth road. You couldn't even tell you were in the air.
Yeah, that's the beauty of those big old planes. They're so heavy there. They just push all the air out of the way.
Yeah, that's great. Anything else for the net there, Jack?
No, that's all. Thanks for doing the net. And let's see. I just want to say hats off to Metro Police. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh my gosh, I love those guys. I can't wait I wish there was another video. Like I don't know what it would be, but I wish there was another one because those guys are awesome. Anyway, I mean, it was flawless. It was really flawless. I don't know how they. I'd like to say it was luck, but it wasn't luck.
No, it was training. They really did their job.
No, and their boss, the director, I don't know what they call that guy, the team leader. He was awesome.
It really was. Well, anyway, I'll let you get on with it, Paul. KG4 ILD.
Very good. That's Jack and Donaldson. Kilo Golf 4 India Lima Victor. Another positive for the Metro Police. Who else is West?
They call him Quick Draw.
Say again.
They call him again Quick Draw.
Oh, is that right? Is that his nickname? Is Quick Draw?
Like Quick Draw.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm just glad they did. They're as good as they are. That's awesome. They don't run into that every day either. So obviously they do that a lot of training. Who else is West? All right, South.
Yeah, 450.
Hello, Tony. Hey, I sent you a message. I had in a draft and I didn't send it. Did you see that one?
Well, if you didn't see it, no, I didn't.
No, I just noticed it today. It was a couple of days ago, and there was one of those Wordle messages, and I did it in 2, and I was shocked.
Ah, you're just showing off.
No. It's just luck is. My wife looked at it. She goes, "I know that you cheated." I said, "No, there wouldn't be any fun if I cheated." But it would just crack me up because I guessed. I only had one letter in the first word, and then she goes, "How did you get that out of that?" I said, "Well, process of elimination and a lot of luck."
Yeah, I had a twofer. I don't know, about 4 or 5 days ago. So yeah, I'm in there with you.
No, I saw it. But again, it is an educated, lucky guess, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, I tried explaining that to my wife the other day, and she's like, "No, you just pick words."
Well, she was actually upset with me because she had gotten that one in 3. No, she also did it in 2, but she lucked out on the first word and had like 3 letters or something. She goes, "I didn't really have any choice. That was the answer." And she was upset because she thought she was going to one up me, and she didn't.
Well, and you're going to see it when, as you well know, I do tomorrow's word tonight because, well, I'm just lazy. And so you'll see it in the morning when you do your Wordle, but you'll see what I did. And it was another one of those, I had all the letters but one, and there's about 18 words that start with different first letters.
Oh, I know. And that's the ones that are they're a pain. They just really are a pain. Anyway, how else is everything else going?
Everything's doing great. I have the neighborhood organized for Saturday morning. We're going to sweep through the neighborhood like a herd of locusts, and we're going to pick up all the trash in all the neighborhood. And I'm expecting, I would like to say there were going to be dozens of people. I'm expecting maybe 3.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Well, let's hope there. Let's hope there's a bunch of them out there. Maybe it'll pick up steam. Like a lot of things, they can pick up steam. It does. Well, a lot of hands doing the work make it a lot faster and easier.
No, that's true. weather, and we'll have lots of helpers and all that. Anyway, that's it. Other than that, you've seen all my reviews I've sent out, so no sense of that. And I'm trying to think. No, that's about it. KF4, KF2.
Yeah, I saw the review. It looked good. It looked like a lot of fun. Anyway, that's Tony. He's in Smyrna. Kilo Foxtrot 4, Kilo Foxtrot Quebec. Excellent signal. Who else is Sal? Hey, Larry, you're pretty noisy. Am I noisy to you tonight?
No, like your signal breaks down a little bit, but you're quiet.
Oh, good. There's just some noise from the outer lying area. I think it might be the fact that I'm using my backup antenna. It makes it a little rougher for the signals that are farther away, like you. But you're fully readable.
You know what it's E4, that's why
Yep, that's Larry. Kilo Echo 4 Sierra Yankee Victor, and he's in Rockville. Anybody else, Sal?
KI40
Yeah, very good. You're also noisy. How my signal to you there, David?
your signal is like Larry said, signal strength is a little low, but loud and clear. No violation.
Very good. I'm glad to hear it. Everything going okay with you?
Yes, very, very good. I have some advice. I do want to know what everybody
Yeah, well, that was the same thing. The long of the short of it is somebody who was very prominent was overcome with emotion on national TV a week or two after 9/11, for instance, and he was shocked. He was almost brought to tears while he was on the TV show because he was saying, "Here, all of these thousands of people running from the building, and the firemen and the paramedics and the police are running into the building." And he was just shocked at how awesome that was. Let's put it this way. I'm pretty sure, in spite of the training, their heart is going about 150 beats a minute at that point when it's at the high mark there. Yeah, very good. That was David, KI4 NDN. That's November Delta November. He's in Reedyville. Who else is south? Or east? Or anywhere. Key 4 PEW with a net control. But please come down.
KD4 VUW Kilo Delta 4 Victor Uniform Whiskey Carlin in Bethpage.
Hey, Carlin, you doing all right?
Oh, yeah, I guess I am. Just sitting here listening to the net.
Oh, yeah. Well, I hope you found it entertaining to some degree.
People all around.
Oh, yeah. No, it's good. I wish I could tell. Don't get me wrong. I just wish I could tell how many people were actually. It'd be kind of neat to know. Because I know there's more than one or two, you know.
Oh, yeah, it's probably people on scanners listening also. Can't ever tell.
Well, that's why we have a responsibility as licensed ham radio operators to keep the language above board.
Yeah, I try to all the time.
Oh, yeah, sometimes things slip out, but that's the one. It's just not a good practice. We want to always remember that there's children on the air, so or at least they could be on the air. Let me qualify. They could be listening on a scanner with their dad or something, and we just have to be careful about language. Not that that comes up very often, and it doesn't come up very often.
Yeah. Well, I thought I'd check on in here and say hello to you. Welcome you back. Heard you was on I guess a little mini vacation to Florida, so I hope you had enjoyed yourself down there. I guess I'll ease off here in case there's some more people who want to check into the net, and I'll say hello to everybody out there, and I guess I'll be clear turning it back over to you. This is KD4 VUW in Bethpage, Carlin, and I'll be clear.
Very good. That was Carlin. Kilo Delta 4 Victor Uniform Whiskey. Yeah, I got that right. Victor Uniform Whiskey, and he is in Bethpage. Good signal, by the way. Who else is any place anywhere?
74 DEPY.
Well, give me that call again correctly. I think I'm going dyslexic on my ears recently.
All right. Whiskey Alpha 4 Delta Bravo Yankee. Name is Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie. I think it is this. I had instead of you said Alpha. Somehow I wrote down Bravo, so I don't know how I got that out of it. How you doing, Eddie?
I'm doing well. Doing well. Just up here messing around in the shack a little bit. Not too long before I have to hit the sack. Get up pretty early in the morning and hit it, so it's kind of chilling a little.
Yeah, very good. Is your given name Edward? I didn't look. I just curious.
No negative. Father was Edward, and I am Eddie.
Okay, very good. The reason I say that is you brought back a memory when I was young. My father got very few phone calls. He worked in an industrial plant, and so he, the only phone. Rarely did he get phone calls. Just one of those deals. Fathers didn't get many phone calls. A phone call in the middle of the week. I'm home. It might have been a Saturday. I forget. And the phone rings. I pick it up, and I said, "Hello." That typical hello. And he goes, "Yeah, is Eddie there?" My dad's name was Edwin. Okay, it was either Dad or Edwin to me. That's all I knew. And I heard, "No, nobody here by that name." And I hung up. And my father says, "Who is that?" I said, "Somebody asking for Eddie." He goes, "That's me."
Very good. Very good. Well, I guess we all learned something about our fathers from time to time, and we did that day. So very good. Yeah, I was up, worked a couple of passes with on the ISS today, just real brief and very short passes. Just messed around a little bit in the shack zone. So I hope everyone has a good night and enjoys themselves and loves their family. Good work, you, and good to hear everybody tonight. Back to that.
Yeah, very good. On the space station, were you just working off a transponder, or was that working any of the people in the station?
No. So when it's not active, it's basically a floating repeater. So it comes over and just it's a real quick grid square change back and forth, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's not overhead for too long, is it?
No, I don't normally get any more than maybe 5-6 minutes out of a 10-minute pass.
Oh, I'll bet. Yeah. So is there many people on there?
Oh yeah, it's crazy. They're all over the place on it, and you would think that we would do better in sharing the spectrum for 5 or 10 minutes, but there's a lot of hogs on it.
Oh, is it? It's funny because there shouldn't be. Ham should know better than that.
Yeah, well, they get excited, I guess, So, but I was able to make just a couple of quick ones and got my one in. That's what I usually try for, and that's it. So it worked well.
Very good. I'm glad. I've never done. I've copied some of the traffic from the space station, but I've never worked a space station like that. I'll have to give that a try. Were you using any special equipment?
Just the 2000. I use that as the rig, and then use a egg beater for the antenna. That way I don't have to do a lot of heavy duty rotors and so on and so forth for tracking.
Now on that radio, don't you have 200 watts, or is it 100 watts on 2 meters or 70 centimeters?
Oh, it could go to 100, but to hit that you don't need any more 15-20 watts.
Ah, okay, very good. Did you buy a homemade egg beater? I mean, did you make a homemade, or did you buy one?
Yeah, I made it.
Okay, very good. It wasn't a big deal. I know somebody else who was building it. I'll have to ask him how he made out.
No, they're not bad at all. Just copper tubing, some 100 ohm cable for the matching network, and so on. It's fairly simple.
Cool, very good. Maybe I'll have to get with him if he's using that, because I know that's what he was wanting to do it for, was satellites and for the space station. Very good, Eddie. That was Whiskey Alpha 4 Delta Bravo Yankee, and he's in Mount Juliet. That's Eddie. Who else? Anybody else? Any place anywhere? All righty, we ended up with 24. We're going to move right over then to, once I hear a complaint, to 28.415.
Didn't even call for a long tag.
Oh, I was trying to make it sure we ran a little long tonight. How you doing? How you doing, Scott?
K1SPD, let's move. Where we going?
By the way, that was Scott in Laverne. K1 SPD. I get that right?
Sure did.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't sound right when I say it. I hear it and I write it. Anyway, K1 SPD, and he's in Laverne. All right, we're going to go over to 28415 upper side band, and we'll see everybody there. Unless I hear something else. That's 25 people, by the way. So Scott rounded it out here. Who else? Anybody else? Nothing heard. 28415. We're going to go there. Oh boy. Hold on one second. I got to make sure. Today's Wednesday. Yep, I'm on. I just want to make sure I was on the right end. All right. See you guys there. All right. This is Kilo 4 Papa Echo Whiskey Mount Juliet Radio. Now looking for people on 10 meters here. Looking for people from the east. Please come now. Anybody from the east? Anybody from the north?
Kilo Bravo 9, Romeo Kilo Kilo.
Hey, all right, very good. You're running high power there, Frank, because you're not as loud as I expect you to be.
No, I'm not running super power enough. I'm high power, but not like a lot of power.
Okay, very good. That was Kilo Bravo 9, Romeo Kilo, Frank and Mount Juliet. Who else is north? Or, yeah, north. North or west?
KM4YRF. You sound much better on 10 meters.
Yeah, well, no explanation there. I don't know what it is. That was Mike, Kilo Mike 4 Yankee Romeo Foxtrot over by the west of the airport. Who else is west or north? KO4 OTV. I did hear you in there real low on the audio and signal there, Joel, but I got you in there. Kilo Oscar 4 Oscar Tango Victor. Mike, how are you copying Joel?
Real well.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Just that little bit of difference. Great on 2 meters and lousy on 10. That's funny. All right. Anybody else west? Kilo Delta 4 Charlie Victor. Yeah, Greg, yeah, I got you. Good signal. It's much better than Joel's, but it's a good copy. Kilo Delta 4 Charlie Victor Echo. That's Greg in Antioch. Who else is west?
Kilo Golf 4 India Lima Victor.
Very good. That's Jack and Donaldson. Good signal. Kilo Golf 4 India Lima Victor. Who else is west? West or south?
WA4 DB1.
Whiskey Alpha 4 Delta Bravo Yankee. You got a good quality, good signal in there from you. I'll get that correct in my brain here. Eddie, couldn't remember at the moment. That's Eddie in Nashville. Whiskey Alpha 4 Delta Bravo Yankee. Excuse me, not in Nashville, but in Mount Juliet. Who else is west or south? All righty, we got Scott, Kilo 1 Sierra Papa Delta. Which antenna are you using there, Scott? Oh, okay, you got it. And that's cut for what? Oh, it is strictly for 40. Cool. So that's a horizontal delta loop. Very good. No, it sounds good. It sounds good because I'm going to see it. It's. I hear you just fine. It's a little low, but I respect it since you're horizontal and I'm vertical. Oh, very good. Very good. Very good. Thanks, Scott. That was Kilo 1 Sierra Papa Delta, Scott in Laverne. Who else is south? Is anybody copying somebody I can't?
Hearing nothing.
I hear some stuff in the background, but might be, again, just might be those voices in my head. All right. Anybody else, any place, anywhere, please come now. All right, we had 8 in there, so appreciate everybody being there. Don't forget, I didn't make any announcements, but don't forget Sunday nights 10 meter net because it's 10 meter sideband, 10 meters FM. So don't forget, that's Mike KM4YRF who does that. And of course, we have our normal net here this coming Saturday for 2 meters and 6 meters and 2 meters upper sideband. So we'll catch you there. K4PEW, unless there's anybody else in there. Well, we're going to 223.415. Very good. I'll be there momentarily. K4 PEW. K4 PEW. Anybody checking in on 223 415? All right, hang on. I got a couple in there. I got Michael KM4YRF. That's Michael in the airport. I heard Kilo Bravo 9, Romeo Kilo Kilo. And who else was in there? All right, I heard two in there, guys. Heard Jack and Donaldson, Kilo Golf 4 India Lima Victor, and Kilo 1 Sierra Papa Delta, Scott in the Laverne. Who else? Anybody else we got in there?
KD4 VUW, Carly in Bethpage.
All right, KD4 VUW, and that's Carlin in Bethpage. Good to hear from you. Got a good signal, Carlin. Who else is Carlin? Are you copying everybody to check in?
I heard those other two just checked in there a minute ago.
Okay, very good. Yeah, that would be Laverne and then the Donaldson. Who else is any place anywhere?
Kilo Delta 4 Charlie Victor Echo.
Oh man, we're having a big night already. Good to have you in there, Greg. Kilo Delta 4 Charlie Victor Echo. Who else is in there? Well, that's 7 of us in there. That's a pretty big number. Yeah, I kind of said it on the net, and I didn't expect it to be a big topic. I really didn't, but it became one about that event over at the Christian school. I really, as bad as I felt, and it's hard to even express that for the families and that whole mess that got created. I also felt bad that nobody in her entire life was able to reach that girl to help her. I don't know what it would take, but nobody stepped in to help that girl.
I read that she had a psychiatrist.
I think you're right. She was on medication, I'm told. I'm hoping they publish that manifesto so we can have a better understanding of how screwed up the ideology that she was following. I think that's what I think the world needs to know that.
Combination of psychological problems, medication, and testosterone all put together.
Oh, I think you're probably right, and having somehow been influenced by a weird philosophies,
I think that red cap was a false flag to look like a Trump supporter.
Oh, you may be right. I hadn't thought about that, Jack. The red cap. Everybody hear that about the red cap she was wearing on backwards?
Yeah, but I hate backwards caps.
Oh yeah, well, you just gotta be. Now I see if they're gonna wear their caps backwards. I want them to put their shoes on backwards too.
I'm seeing less and less of it. I think that's safe.
Well, when I joined the Navy, I thought that the white hats were pretty stupid too, but you get used to them.
For the comedian, he said, we see these people with their sweaters over their backs and their arms tied around their neck in the front. He said, always look to see if their socks are tied around their ankles.
That's right. Well, sometimes you do that because you don't want to wear the sweater because you only have it with you in case it gets cold. I guess I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
Just looking at an article here, they say the FBI says they will release that manifesto.
Oh, I kind of think they have to, but did you see the warning that one of the big, I'll just call them one of the big groups, special interest groups said about that?
No.
They said, I can't remember the exact quote. You'll have to look it up. But essentially they said, yeah, watch what happens if you release that manifesto. Well, yeah, I know. It's everybody's in this world, one of the problems, the biggest problem, humankind. I'm going to give you a little bit of my stupid philosophy. There's one thing about humans that's fairly common among all of us, and that's that we tend to blame others when something isn't going right or something bad happens to us. And most of us learn over time, it's not anybody's fault but your own. Most of the things that happen to us are our own fault. And Unfortunately, now we've got a whole, everybody's a victim. And you go, no, you're not a victim, man. This is called life. Everybody's a victim, in some way of just the world. So, just get over yourself. Anyway. Anyways, everybody copying everybody else? I was just curious to know. Let me see. I can hear everybody, of course. Mike, were you copying everybody? Oh, it's very good. Very full readable. No problems at all. Frank, how about yourself?
Did not hear Jack or the other gentleman that checked in with Jack, but everybody else is coming in good. But the strongest are yourself and that page.
Interesting. Jack, that's funny that he can't hear you. How are you hearing Frank?
I'm not hearing Frank.
What is between you two guys? I mean, he's in Northwest. He's just right there at a very relatively high spot in Northwest Mount Juliet. Over there by the border.
I should be able to hear him, but I'm not. There's 2 bars that come up on the meter, and I'm not having any audio.
That's weird. Which antenna are you using, Frank?
I still don't have a true 220 antenna. I'm still using a 510 with a tuner, but Jack signals, it's picket fencing, and I can almost hear them. Some nights I can, though. Tonight I can't, but it's weird. Not no units at all. You're full scale. I can hear Michael. Michael's 100% readable. It's just not giving me as strong of a signals yet.
Okay, yeah, that's the reason. You've got to really. I'd love to see how that. Do you know what the SWR is on that on the 510 with the tuner?
Well, with my tuner, it's super low. It's flat. I mean, with the tuner, but without the tuner, this frequency is about 2 to 1. On one of the frequencies, it's actually 1.2. But not it's very narrow banded.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure it is, and that's one of the problems is you've got to compromise. While you can tune almost anything to a reasonable SWR, it doesn't mean it's going to receive anything.
No, it's probably more of a dummy load. It's just making the radio happy, but I'm sure that it would be better with a true antenna. I just can't get just not in a position right now to put one up.
Yeah, very good. Who else was out there? Scott, you can hear everybody. I know you can hear Michael real good. Who else can you hear good?
I hear you and all you right now.
Oh, really? Oh, which antenna are you using?
Halo, and it's up, 32 feet, I think. And but I'm telling you, I'm thinking it's very directional.
That's interesting. I didn't think those halos were directional.
Well, if you lay them horizontally, they might not be, but that would be for sideband. And so I turned this one vertically, and for the FM one, I don't know. I may try it the other way.
Very interesting. No, that's not hearing anybody but me. Anyway, Carl, I already asked you, didn't I, Carl? Let's see who else was in there. KD4CVE. Greg, you're copying everybody, or I don't think you are though.
I'm most everybody's good. Frank is noisier than usual, but copyable, and not a piece out of Scott or Carlin.
Well, Carlin's a little bit of a stretch from you being way up there in where his Bethpage. Is that where you are, Carlin? Bethpage? I forget.
Well, they call this Bethpage. I'm actually about 2.5, 3 miles just east of Oak Grove, Tennessee. I want to make sure you know Oak Grove is at, because there's an Oak Grove, Kentucky that's up there. And a lot of people, when I say Oak Grove, they get this one here next to me and that one confused.
Well, good luck, because there's also some Oak Groves in about 40 other states, I think.
Yeah, who was it that had the 510 on the tuner?
That was Frank, KB9RKK, here in Northwest Mount Juliet.
Okay, I'm going to let him know I've got an S5 on him up here.
Could you hear that, Frank?
Sure, he sounds great. He's actually got the best audio out of everybody, but he's good. This don't have a real meter on it, but he's giving me 2 very solid out of 5 bars.
Yeah, very. Which radio are you using, Carlin?
I didn't understand what you said. What?
I'm sorry, which radio are you using on 220?
It's a TM742 tri-band Kenwood. This one I think I bought about 5 or 6. About the last year that they made them. My other one over there, it's 30 years old. I bought it back when I got licensed in '93. I did a mic mod to make the audio modern. Kenwood, let's see, what is it they said? That you changed the microphone impedance resistor. That's a resistor that feeds the condenser microphone from 820 to 18K. It will give you 6 dB of gain. I only moved it up to not 18K, but 1.8K. I moved it up only to 1.5K, and it made it a little bit hotter and stuff. But this is the deep backlit DTMF microphone Kenwood put out there for a while.
Yeah, I don't know if it's your push to talk on it. Sometimes you drop out momentarily on the mic.
Yeah, I'm not noticing it on the radio up here. On the watt meter, I'm standing here looking at it.
All right. Well, I just want. Is everybody else hearing that same little dropout occasionally?
He sounds great to me. I guess he's got the best audio.
Oh yeah, maybe it's me. Maybe I've got the squelch set to so that it gets to be hard to do because he's got a great signal.
Yeah, maybe you got the squelch a little too tight. I don't know. I'm watching the watt meter. I'm not noticing anything dropping out.
Well, it's not dropping out that time. Okay, I'll live with that. We'll see how it goes from there. Anyway, anybody else got anything else for the net? It's nice to have 7 people in here tonight. That's a good deal. All righty. Well, I'm going to close the net. I got to get some things done myself before I go to bed. So everybody, appreciate you being on the air, and long live 220 K4PEW.
Good night, Paul. Everybody, KB9 attention. Who's that last one in there? The KD4 VW, and I'm going to ease up to 147.585 Simplex. KD4, what? A1 history. For ILV, are you still in there, Michael? KD4 ILV clear.
Good night, everybody. Almost walked out without turning it off. K4PEW.